Hello, everyone. I'm Carol Richards, and welcome to Teacher Talk, episode 11. Today, we're going to continue our discussion of movement composition in the music and creative arts classroom. Now, creative movement compositions can do all of the things that most compositions can do, but movement is unique in that when they work on something with the music, they internalize things like beat and rhythm, tonality, mood, timbre, all sorts of things. So movement is a really good way to get these concepts internalized into a child. In creative movement, we can do all of those things. All of those things will happen. Plus, lots of other things happen in creative movement exercises that contribute to the whole development of the child. For example, literacy, numeracy, social skills, working together, coming to consensus, being creative, problem solving, and so on. So these are all activities that are important for a child's development. Now, creative movement composition doesn't need any special skills like having to read music or play an instrument well. Everyone can move. Even children who have a disability have a range of movements. So movement is a very inclusive activity. Last week, we talked about movement composition, and we talked about having some preparation, taking the children through a series of activities that prepared them for their composition. We also said that the teacher has to have a composition framework all worked out in their own mind that they can share with the children to give the children some direction, some ideas of the scope of the composition, and so on. Today, we're going to talk about preparation and framework yet again, because today we're going to look at movement compositions where the movement does not match the music, in that we don't expect the children to do every single movement to the beat of the music. We don't expect them to move to the music like 1, 2, 3, kick, 1, 2, 3, kick. The music will be like a sound carpet in the background, and the movements will be trying to tell the story that the children want to tell through movement. And I say, try to tell a story, because that's a good way, that's a good framework to give children a familiar activity. For example, we're going to do a movement about a day at the beach. What kinds of movements would you expect to see at the beach, or a day at the park, or a day at the cricket, or on a holiday? So we give them a framework that is to tell a story, and then we set the parameters. All right, just choose 4 movements, do each movement several times, make it interesting by doing it in different ways perhaps, and get it all organized. This is helpful to children. So in the preparation, what can we do? Well, we want to give them as many ideas as possible. One of the things I use is a story about, we're all going on a holiday to an amazing place and we've never been there before. And it has mountains and lakes and deserts. We're going to have to cross this desert, but we can only cross one at a time. And we cannot cross it in the same way as anyone else. So if I walk across the desert and I'm the first one, no one else can walk. Everyone else that comes after has to do something entirely different from me and everyone else. Now, of course, the reason for this is if there are 30 children in the class, they get 30 different ideas of ways of moving across a space. And if you do the same thing coming back, they'll get 30 more ideas. So this is all part of giving them ideas and also kickstarting their imagination. They're doing something. They're on an adventure. What can they do that's different from everyone else? So now I'd like to show you a little video clip of some people from Taiwan who are going to do this exercise. They're going to move across the magic desert in different ways. Following that activity, I gave them their composition framework, which was now in groups of 4, pretend you are on an adventure somewhere, and the 4 of you go off on this adventure. Please choose at least 4 movements, do them several times, maybe in different ways, and we'll see if we can guess where you are. So now let's look at one group who took this framework and came up with this movement composition. So that's how that particular composition activity worked. We still did preparation and we still did a framework where they had a very good idea of what was required. Sometimes the students will ask you, can we do 5 movements instead of 4? And the answer is yes, because in fact, the framework is just a suggestion to make it easy for the children to make decisions without having to think that they have to do something for 20 minutes as long as the music goes. Sometimes they ask if they can do something one at a time or whatever. Yes, the answer is yes. It's their piece in the end. So it's not important that you said 4. All right, you said 4 movements, but really that's only a suggestion. Also, I give them a time limit. I say you have 10 minutes. And that's because you need to push them along. Sometimes you don't give them 10 minutes, you give them 15 minutes, and that's okay too. Another thing that happens is sometimes children get stuck. So it's important for the teacher to wander around and keep an eye on each group. And when they get stuck, teachers, is it okay to give them ideas? Well, I always say to them, what have you done so far? So I watch what they do, and then I make suggestions. Oh, well, you could do this or this or this or this. Sometimes they take my suggestions, but sometimes my suggestions only serve to give them more ideas, and they think up their own idea. So that's all good. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little chat about movement preparation for movement compositions, especially creative movement compositions. And have a go with your students and let us know how they go. Hope to see you next week. And thanks for joining us in Teacher Talk.